All right, what's going on, family? Scrapbook Boxing Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. We're going to continue with Iron Mike Tyson's saga. And we left off with Evander Holyfield's ear being bitten off by Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson was disqualified by referee Mills Lane. And the next big fight for Mike Tyson would be Lennox the Lion Lewis. Now, at this point in Mike Tyson's career, he didn't want to fight anymore. He was obligated in a contract agreement between him and Don King when Don King had signed an agreement with Mike Tyson when he was released from prison. So Lennox Lewis had faced Evander Holyfield, and Lennox Lewis didn't feel any satisfaction because he felt robbed the first fight. He vindicated the second fight with Evander Holyfield. And although Mike Tyson didn't have a title, but he was the big name, the big money. And Lennox Lewis always wanted to face Mike Tyson. They sparred when they were 16 years old. And he felt as though he can beat Mike Tyson. That would add to his legacy. Evander Holyfield and Lennox Lewis. Now Lennox Lewis is ready for Iron Mike Tyson. Now we have the promotion going on. And Iron Mike Tyson becomes the bad guy. And he starts to hype up the fight. And he honestly believes everything that he is saying. Although later on in life he would state that it was for publicity. But he really believed in most of the things he was saying. And he was getting a little out of control. But it was making a lot of money for the box office. Now Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield, 1.99 million pay-per-view buys. $49.95 each. It was June 97. Mike Tyson versus Evander Holyfield won 1.60 million buys. And that was $49.95. So that was the average rate for a Mike Tyson fight for the home box on television. Mike Tyson versus Peter McNeely, 1.58 million pay-per-view buys. That was a much-anticipated fight because that was the first fight for Mike Tyson when he was released from prison. And that was $44.95. A lot of people began to question and have a lot of problems paying this money because fight wouldn't last 1 round, 2 rounds. And that's when Don King come up with a brilliant idea of $9.95 per round up until, a certain amount of rounds, or you just pay $49.95, whichever way it goes. And a lot of people thought that Mike Tyson was paid to stretch the fight out a little bit. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on at that particular times in terms of conversation. So this was the pay-per-view setup fight for Lennox Lewis and Mike Tyson. And here you have the famous brawl that took place at the press conference. And Lennox Lewis claims that Mike Tyson bit him on the leg. Just so many things going on at that time. And everyone felt that Mike Tyson was getting a little out of control. So the big night would come. 2002, Mike Tyson would have to face Lennox Lewis. And it was always questioned what would happen if Mike Tyson had to eventually face Lennox Lewis. And we would get our answer in Memphis, Tennessee. And this is a scene you have here after the famous brawl with Lennox Lewis. Mike Tyson's in a complete rage. Can't be controlled. And he's talking about eating children and everything. And Mike Tyson is shouting at a reporter, telling him that he'll make love to him until the reporter loves it and everything else. All kind of crazy stuff is going on at this press conference. And fines are being thrown out left and right. And we start off with the fight. Lennox Lewis starts out with the jab. Mike Tyson can't get past the jab. The problem with Mike Tyson, he claims later on he didn't have enough time to prepare for the fight. And he had Ronnie Shields come in the night of the fight to the dressing room. First time he saw Mike Tyson. They never trained together, from my understanding. He met him in the dressing room to be in his corner, and that's the first time he saw him. There was no preparation that was taking place with that fight with Lennox Lewis. And this is the result. Mike Tyson lays on his back. And it's the same position he was in when he was knocked down, unfortunately for him, against James Buster Douglas. Now, referee Eddie Cotton tries to move Lennox Lewis to a neutral corner. Mike Tyson is trying to get some assistance to get up, not realizing he's actually in a fight. Mike Tyson is knocked out, and it would crush his career. And now Mike Tyson began to find himself in familiar territory. He would be on the losing end of the stick, unfortunately for him. Sunday, June 9, 2002 was the following day of the fight. And Mike Tyson, once again, people began to feel sorry for him, and then you had people that felt he needed that to humble him. But for me to see Mike Tyson rolling around on the floor like that, it was still depressing to me, because Mike Tyson, I grew up on Mike Tyson. As much as I study boxing history, he was the guy that was in my time. And it was just like those who followed Joe Louis in their day with Rocky Marciano, or Muhammad Ali with Larry Holmes in 1980. It was just a humbling experience. Mike Tyson being counted out by referee Eddie Cotton. This would be a night that I would never forget. Mike Tyson was killed in 8 rounds by Lennox Lewis. And Emanuel Stewart was going absolutely nuts in the corner because he felt as though Mike Tyson was getting too close to Lennox Lewis. Lennox Lewis would claim later on in an interview that he broke his hand. And he didn't want to let Emanuel Stewart know, RIP to him, that his hand was broken. But Mike Tyson would be dangerous even if he was hurt. And that was the concern that Emanuel Stewart would have. But it took Emanuel Stewart to take a fighter from another country to come back and defeat Mike Tyson. That's absolutely incredible. So next up would be Donovan Razor Ruddock and Iron Mike Tyson. Now, Razor Ruddock was supposed to fight Mike Tyson the same night that Tyson fought James Buster Douglas. And you know what? I believe the same results would have happened, perhaps worse, because Donovan Razor Ruddock could punch. It was supposed to be in Edmonton, Canada. And there was issues that prevented that fight from happening, get different stories. But they would finally fight now. Now, I didn't know what to think with this fight. I was at Madison Square Garden when Donovan Razor Ruddock put the smash on Michael Dynamite Dokes, RIP to him. And Dokes was out for 7.5 minutes. I didn't know that Dokes was okay until I got home and turned on the television set, because he was out the whole time we were leaving the garden. And that put the scare in most of the opponents. Evander Holyfield was at ringside, and these two men never fought, but Donovan Razor Ruddock, he had a mission. He wanted to fight Mike Tyson. Because Mike Tyson had Donovan Razor Ruddock on the undercard of Michael Spinks in 1988. And Ruddock fought a fighter by the name of Reggie Gross. Mike Tyson knocked out Reggie Gross in 1 round on the undercard of Hector Camacho and Edwin El Chapo Rosario. And I was perhaps in the second row of that fight. This is in 1986. But Donovan Razor Ruddock was some puncher, I got to tell you. And I was just curious to see what would happen between these two men. Now, these two men fought twice. First referee was Richard Steele. It would become a controversial 7th round TKO. And there was a lot of animosity between the two camps. There were lawsuits threatened. So a rematch was in order. Not sure if there was a clause, but with those lawsuits hanging over Don King and Mike Tyson's head, the rematch appeared, and Mills Lane would be the next referee. Now, this fight was called Desert Storm 2 because they knew it was going to be fireworks. They didn't quite know how the first fight would turn out. But these two men were punchers, so you know it was not going to go the distance, however way it landed. Whatever the results would have been, some room was going to be stretched out. And as you can see here, it was a controversial stoppage with Richard Steele. He stepped in a little too soon in the eyes of the Razor Ruddock camp, and it would cause for that rematch to happen. Now, this fight took place in Las Vegas, Nevada, March 18th, 1991. As you can see here, Mills Lane is in the second fight. He's in charge of this fight, and he sees to it that justice is prevailed, and he makes sure that both men get a fair opportunity. Now, Razor Ruddock goes down in both fights. So Mike Tyson really did very well in that fight. It was an outstanding, evenly matched fight. And this is the type of fight you want to see. You want to see the best fight the best. And Mike Tyson was trying to redeem himself. And I believe Razor Ruddock was undefeated at that time. Beautiful, beautiful fight between these two men. Mike Tyson had only one defeat at this time, and it was against James Buster Douglas. Razor Ruddock, like I said, I believe he was undefeated coming into this particular fight. So you never knew who was going to actually win this fight because both men were determined. They were both punchers. Razor Ruddock was a much bigger man, but he didn't have the experience that Mike Tyson had. It was just an exciting night of boxing. Both fights between Mike Tyson and Donovan Razor Ruddock. Beautiful body of punch attack by Donovan Razor Ruddock. Mike Tyson keeps the pressure on Donovan Razor Ruddock. And Ruddock will cover up the majority of the fight. He would fight back in spurts, but he was punch shy. You can see that. We're going to end this video here, and we'll pick up with the final chapter of Mike Tyson's saga, right here on the Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. Thanks for hanging in there. This is Scrapbook Boxing. Salute to my subscribers. Salute to Iron Mike Tyson. Till next time. Peace.